It's 3 in the morning. You wake up in a pitch black room, completely alone. The silence feels safe, comfortable, even boring. But for almost every human who ever lived, that same silence meant something had gone terribly wrong. It meant the fire had died, it meant the group was gone, and it meant you were probably about to die. Sleeping alone wasn't a lifestyle choice. For most of human history, it was a death sentence. And the story of how we escaped that sentence explains some of the strangest things about you today. Think about what you'll do tonight. You'll close a door, maybe lock it. You'll lie down in a room built for one person. Your ancestors could never have imagined such a thing. They slept in piles, bodies pressed together, breath mixing, arms and legs tangled. Every birth, every illness, every argument, every death happened in full view of everyone. Privacy didn't exist. Not because they didn't want it, because wanting it could get you killed. Here's what the night actually looked like. 300,000 years ago. No walls, no lights, 12 hours of absolute darkness. Half of every single day of your life spent blind. Danger number 1, you were on the menu. Lions, leopards, and hyenas all prefer to hunt after dark. Their eyes gather roughly 6 times more light than yours. Once the sun set, you were nearly blind. The things hunting you were not, and this isn't guesswork. The fossil record kept receipts. In a South African cave, researchers found an ancient human skull. It has 2 neat puncture holes in the back. They match precisely the lower fangs of a leopard. Danger number 2, the cold. During glacial winters, night temperatures plunge far below freezing. A human body sleeping alone sheds its heat fast. Hypothermia can kill a healthy adult in a single night, and shivering burns calories a hunter-gatherer couldn't spare. The cold didn't need to kill you outright. It only needed to weaken you until something else could. But 2 bodies together lose heat far more slowly. A sleeping pile is a furnace with a heartbeat. Danger number 3, the fire itself. Fire was warmth, light, and a wall against predators, but fire dies without constant feeding. An untended blaze burns out in a couple of hours, and restarting one from nothing in the dark could take hours more. Hours your frozen fingers didn't have, which means someone had to stay awake every night for hundreds of thousands of years. Alone, all of this was impossible. Together, it was Tuesday. So how exactly did they pull it off? The answers are stranger than you'd think. The first answer was found in a cliff face in South Africa. Sibidu Cave holds the oldest known beds on Earth. They're 77,000 years old. For comparison, that's roughly 15 times older than the pyramids. When these beds were made, Neanderthals still ruled Europe. Not stone tools, not weapons, mattresses, thick mats of sedge grass, wide enough for whole families, and pressed into the grass, archaeologists found something extraordinary. Leaves. From one very specific tree. Leaves whose natural chemicals kill mosquito larvae and repel biting insects. These people were making medicated mattresses before our species had even left Africa. And when the bedding wore out, they didn't just toss it, they burned it and built a fresh, clean layer right on top of the ash. The ash killed crawling insects. The new grass smelled sweet. Clean sheets, Stone Age edition. Fresh bedding, insect repellent, and pest control, all in one system. Modern campers buy gear for this. They grew theirs. Sites like this show layer upon layer of rebuilt beds, some stretching back 200,000 years. At a site called Border Cave, the very oldest beds rest on ash. Ash spread on purpose because crawling insects refused to cross it. Our ancestors mastered pest control long before they mastered farming. But a shared bed only solved half the problem, because someone still had to watch the darkness, which brings us to one of the strangest sleep studies ever run. In 2017, researchers traveled to Tanzania to live alongside the Hadza, one of Earth's last hunter-gatherer peoples. No electric lights, no locked doors, no mattresses from a store. The Hadza still sleep the ancient way, together in open camps. The scientists gave every adult a wrist sleep tracker and recorded more than 200 hours of group sleep. Then they asked a simple question. How often was every single adult asleep at the same time? Out of more than 200 hours, the answer was 18 minutes. 18 minutes total. At nearly every moment of every night, someone was awake, or half awake, dozing lightly, listening. In fact, at any given moment, over a third of the camp was either awake or sleeping lightly enough to wake instantly. And here's the eerie part. Nobody was assigned the job. No guard schedule, no rotation. It simply happened because human body clocks are deliberately mismatched. Young adults drift naturally towards staying up late. Elders wake naturally in the smallest hours before dawn. Their overlapping rhythms wove a living alarm system across the night. Evolution never built one perfect sleeper. It built a choir of gloriously imperfect ones. So your grandfather waking at 4 a.m. isn't a malfunction. It's a 200,000-year-old security shift, still reporting for duty, and the ancient night had one more secret. For most of history, humans didn't sleep in one long block. They slept in two shifts, a first sleep after sunset, a second sleep before dawn. And in between came something we've completely forgotten, an hour or two of calm midnight waking spent together. People tended the fire, talked softly, told stories. Centuries later, European diaries still describe this rhythm in detail. Medieval writers even had a name for the pause between sleeps. People used it to pray, snack, talk, and visit neighbors. Nobody called it insomnia. It was simply how night worked. Only gaslight, factories, and alarm clocks squeezed sleep into one block. Anthropologists studying Kalahari fireside camps noticed something remarkable. During the day, conversation was business. Complaints, gossip, plans, and who owed whom what. But when darkness fell, the talk transformed. By firelight, over 80% of conversation became stories and song. Economics ruled the daylight. Imagination ruled the dark. Night after night, for thousands upon thousands of generations, the night huddle wasn't just where humans survived, it may be where storytelling itself was born, all of which explains something dark about the ancient world. In many traditional societies, the harshest sentence wasn't violence, it was banishment. Being sent away from the group, alone, no fire circle, no sleeping pile, no sentinels. Exile was execution with extra steps. Everyone understood it. The group was the wall. Step outside the wall and the night simply took you. Here's a telling detail about the English word loneliness. It barely existed before the year 1800. Before private rooms, there was hardly anything for it to describe. But here's the part nobody expects. Eventually, humans invented walls, roofs, and locking doors. The predators were shut out. The cold was shut out. Sleeping alone was finally safely possible. So what did people do? They kept sleeping together anyway for thousands more years. In medieval Europe, whole households shared one great bed. Parents, children, servants, sometimes the family dog. Travelers at roadside inns climbed into bed beside total strangers. It was as unremarkable as sharing a train seat today. One English inn took the idea to its logical extreme. It built a bed more than 3 meters wide. The great bed of where slept at least 8 strangers side by side. It became so famous that Shakespeare joked about it on stage. Even kings didn't get to sleep privately. At Versailles, the French king woke up in front of an audience. Nobles competed for the honor of handing him his shirt. The royal bedroom was a stage. Privacy wasn't even for kings. Then, barely 2 centuries ago, everything flipped. Industrial cities, cheap coal heat, and new ideas about propriety carved the shared night into private boxes. The private bedroom, one person, one door, one silent room, only became normal within the last 200 years. Out of 300,000 years of human nights, you belong to the first few generations ever to sleep alone. In evolutionary terms, we adopted solitary sleep about 5 minutes ago, and our bodies clearly never got the memo. And maybe that explains something strange about our world. We finally won the thing our ancestors could never have: a door that locks, a room of our own, a silent night. And almost immediately, loneliness became one of our defining epidemics. Health researchers now compare chronic loneliness to smoking 15 cigarettes a day. Lonely sleepers show lighter, more fragmented sleep in laboratory studies, as if the body refuses to fully stand down without its group, because for 300 millennia, the sound of other people breathing was the sound of safety. Your body still remembers that, even if you don't. It's why a heartbeat sound soothes a newborn to sleep, why a dog on the bed feels like more than a pet. Sleep scientists even have a name for hotel room restlessness, the first night effect. In unfamiliar places, half your brain stays partly awake, standing guard. Why the dark still gets a little heavier when you're alone in it. For 300,000 years, we huddled together against the night. Maybe we never actually escaped the darkness. Maybe we just walled ourselves in with it.